Hey there, Fit Fam. Welcome to the only podcast where we're breaking the mold and rewriting the rules. I'm here to debunk the myths, spill the tea, and serve a hefty dose of reality. No matter where you're at in your journey, we've got something for everybody. So buckle up because we're about to unleash the basics in the most unapologetic way possible. From shedding pounds to embracing your inner badass, I'm here to remind you that skinny is so last season and the basics are anything but boring. So grab your favorite piece of protein and your water bottle and get ready to be empowered, entertained, and educated because being a basics bitch has never looked this good. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Call Me Skinny. Excited to be here with you today. Y'all, we are almost to September. Like, this is wild how quickly life is happening, and I'm not really sure I'm ready for it. Not gonna lie. I mean, this is just, it's happening quickly. And I don't know about you, but already in Michigan, you can tell it's starting to turn to fall. This morning, I was up in the gym at 5 a.m. and it was chilly outside. It was definitely chilly. So the shift is happening. The change is happening. So I'm excited, kind of excited for that. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't know. I kind of like the fall days where it's like, I wish it was kind of fall more year round, you know, in that 60, 70, no humidity style of weather. That's my place that I like and enjoy. Sweatshirt weather with some jeans, but sometimes you get to take the sweatshirt off. And I don't know. That's where I'm at with life, I think, as I get older. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I don't really know. Okay, enough about the weather. Yeah, so obviously Basics on Demand is still available. I have one spot for one-on-one coaching opening up here coming shortly in like 2 weeks. So if you're interested in that, you have to enroll. The application is in the show notes as well. So be sure to get into that. Outside of that, I want to talk a little bit more specifically to people who I used to be, right? So I want to talk to people with 200 plus pounds to lose because you are in a very, what's the word I'm looking for? A very different situation, say, than somebody that has 5 or 10 pounds that they're trying to get rid of. Okay. You are not in the same category by any stretch of the imagination. And I want to give you a little bit of a process here, kind of the process that I went through, sort of like what my journey looked like so that you can kind of take pieces and start applying these pieces to your own journey because it's a lot easier than what we want it to be. And I say that because the society says it has to be super hard and crazy and ridiculous and extreme, and it just doesn't have to be this way. And so I want to chat a little bit about what it actually looks like for somebody with that weighs over 200 pounds. And I would say even at somebody who's 5'9", 5'10", you probably still have fat to lose at that point. It just may not be as much, right? I am 5'6". I was 250 pounds. Just to give you an idea, if you're new here, that's where I started. So we have to take into consideration height and age and, history and all these other nuances. But for the majority of us who are over 200 pounds, we would like to see some of that gone. These all can kind of apply to you. But again, there's still going to be nuance. But I'm more or less just talking about my own journey, how I did things, and to see what can you take from this and start applying to your life. So I have about 7 steps. This might change as we go, as I talk through things, because I just jot down some things that are important that I for sure want to make sure I touch on. But I know that as I talk, sometimes other things come up. So for now, it's about 7 things, and we'll see how that goes. So step one of my process was legitimately accepting where the fuck I was and accepting how I got there. And this isn't surface level. This is not, oh man, over the last 20 years, I just gained all this weight. Oh my God. No. This is deeper level things. This is hard conversations in the mirror. This is, honesty, like brutal fucking honesty. So my acceptance piece, my thing was that's just how I knew how to cope, was to eat. I would even say times I didn't even care what I was doing, what I was eating, or any of that. Like, it didn't even like dawn on me. Like, you probably shouldn't have donuts for breakfast and Taco Bell for lunch and pizza for dinner. Like, these things, like, it wasn't even a thought in my brain to like, hey, maybe you should eat a vegetable. Like, this is a reality that I had that I know that some of you are having, where even if you do have the thought that's like, maybe I should eat a vegetable, it goes away so fast because you don't even care. Like, the capacity isn't there. Now, when I talk about accepting where you're at and accepting how you got there, that also doesn't mean to shame yourself for those choices, because I am always a believer that who you are and how you got where you are, there's a reason why. You need to thank that person, that who you are, who got you here. Because that person, at the end of the day, was trying to protect you. She was trying to keep you safe. She was trying to continue to have you keep going in life. And we need to acknowledge that that is not a bad thing, even though our actions may not be the best, right? And I'm going to say that, like, it is not a false thing to say that donuts for breakfast, Taco Bell for lunch, and pizza for dinner that's just not necessary. And it's not healthy or good. Okay. So we can say that and still go, yeah, but you know what? In that moment, it fucking felt good to me. Like, that's what I needed to do. Right. And there's a lot of things that I was processing, even though I was remarried. Like, I don't know if any of you have been divorced. I'd be curious to hear your own experience here, but I'm still processing things. I am still peeling back layers from that. And while I was extremely happy, still am very happy in my marriage, right? It doesn't mean that there aren't bumps along the way and things aren't like, we don't have hard times and like, we don't like, have disagreements and things like those are real. Everybody does. We're human beings, right? But at the end of the day, something I had to remind myself the other night, I actually opened up, I'll just say this. My ex-husband's sister, a friend requested me like over a year ago, and she's still friends with him on Facebook, and I won't be friends with her. I don't really know her. I met her one time when she was 12 years old. Okay. That was back in 2005, had been like 2006 going into 2007, something like it. So we're now in 2020, almost 5. I haven't seen her since then. She's not 12 years old anymore. And she looks like she's doing well for herself, and I think that's great. And the other night I went down this like rabbit hole on her page, and I started going down my ex-husband's Facebook page, which I used to have blocked, but now I just don't fucking care. I really don't care. Like, if he wants to go find me and watch all my shit, I don't care. But anyways, there is a point to this piece, okay? At the end of the day, the other night after I went through all of this, I had to remind myself why I left. I had to think back and go, he was not a partner. Like, he was just not a partner. And I became a little bit activated and my heart rate elevated, and I got a little bit emotional, a little bit sad, because at the end of the day, it's like, fuck, man. Like, it sucks for my kids in a way, even though I don't think he's a great person. Like, this is whatever. Okay, so see, this is what I mean by when we talk things out. We're going to church right now. So this is a lot more in depth than I was planning on going, but I'm going to keep going here because this is why this is important. I'm going to explain why this is important. So I had to remind myself all the reasons why I left and all the reasons why what I'm in right now in my marriage that I'm currently in is not the same. Right? I literally went to bed reminding myself I am safe. I am loved. I am cared for. I'm allowed to be who I need to be. I can say what I need, and it's never going to be held against me. I'm in a partnership. I'm on a team with somebody who wants me to be successful and win. I never have to wonder or worry if I'm being cheated on. I never have to wonder and worry if something's wrong. Nothing, like none of that. And like, that's like 9 things I just said that's different, those are the basis of a relationship. I don't give a shit if it's a friendship, a partnership, a marriage, or what, a co-parenting, even if you're not married. Like, this is the real thing, right? And I had to remind myself this, right? But there was a period of time, even after I got married to Will, that I would have moments where I would put myself back into some of these situations, and the way I dealt with it was to fucking eat food or drink alcohol or be mean to myself. And it's because I felt like a failure, because I felt like waiting for the shoe to drop with Will. Like, when is this going to end? Like, when is he going to pull the rug out? He's way too good to be true. Like, you know what they say, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And that's how I felt, because I was like, there is no way possible somebody could even love me, want to have sex with me, not want to cheat on me, like just not want to change anything about, like, there's just no way. Like, this is just, this is too good to be true. And so those moments continued to creep in, even post-marriage, which is why although I was happy, and I was happy and am happy in my marriage, those pieces from the past, those previous pieces of me still were coming through. And if you've ever been in any kind of situation, and it doesn't have to be a divorce, it could be a different relationship, it could be a parent relationship, it could be a daughter, like a child relationship, it could be a car accident, it could be the death of somebody that you love. Like, it doesn't matter. If that piece starts or continues to creep in moments, and you don't have a handle on the ability to cope or deal with it, except for the way that you always coped and dealt with it in the previous time, it's going to show its face the same fucking way. It's going to rear its head the same fucking way, which is what was happening to me. Now, you heard me just say, like, the other day, I went down this rabbit hole. I don't know why I did it. Sometimes I get curious to, like, I don't know, see what the fuck this guy's doing, but whatever. And not that I necessarily care, but I got activated. And instead of using the same tools that I used to use, that my previous self needed to fucking live and survive, okay, I was able to just talk myself through it and say, but this is why it didn't work. And this is why it's working right now for me. This is what's different, right? And so that will keep creeping up. And, you know, I have another life situation. I'm not going to go into super detail because I don't even know who all listens to this, but I have a sibling relationship that doesn't always, that's not always the best. And that's creeping in right now. And it's something that I put a lot of boundaries up, but it still, activates me at times. So I'm really trying to use techniques and coping mechanisms and continuing to put my boundaries up so that it doesn't affect me the way it used to affect me. Because at the end of the day, here's the deal. At the end of the day, nobody made me eat. Nobody made me drink alcohol. Nobody made me stay in an abusive relationship where I was cheated on and was emotionally and verbally abused and borderline physically abused. Like, nobody made me do those things. I chose those things. And that is something that I had to accept. Nobody made me take bullshit from siblings. I chose that. I did not stand up for myself. I am not the same person. 9 years ago, when I was 32 years old, 9 years ago, whatever, I made a choice to change who the fuck I was. And maybe it wasn't even change who I was, but it was accepting the fact that, like, being who you have been has not served you well. You need to figure out who the fuck you need now to serve you now so that you can move forward. And that's what I did. Okay. That's part of the acceptance piece. Yes, it's kind of quote unquote my fault. It's not my fault people treated me that way. That is not my responsibility, but it is my responsibility to fucking make it different if I don't want it to be that way. Because at the end of the day, I chose to allow it to happen. If you're making a choice to allow people or whatever to treat you a certain way, it is a choice that you're making. You do not have to tolerate or accept that behavior. Okay. Now, that is part of the acceptance piece. Your story is going to look different than my story. I'm giving an example of where the previous self for me came to try to protect me. And now I've had to change how I cope and how I stand up for myself. I mean, that's really what I'm doing. I put my foot down. I said, here's a line, fucking cross it, see what happens. Boom. Like that's where I'm at, right? I'm not here to tolerate anybody's shit anymore. Okay. So there's a line, cross it, see what happens. That's an acceptance piece though. 8-9 years ago, I had to accept that I allowed things to happen that way. I also had to accept that it was my responsibility to fucking do something different if I wanted something different. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And it wasn't. It doesn't mean it was going to be just fucking like tomorrow. It's not. It's going to take time, effort, failing, fucking up, energy. That's step 1. And we're only 15 minutes in. Okay, here we go. Step 2, this part right here. Accept that it's going to take longer than you want. This change does not happen in a day. If you are in such an unhealthy place, you need to accept that this is going to fucking take time, period. This is not an overnight. I'm talking about 9 years ago, and you can still see I'm still activated by shit. You can see that I still have to use tools so that I don't fall back into patterns. You guys, it is so simple to fall back into other patterns, the previous patterns, because your body's like, oh, I remember that. Oh, that made me feel good. I remember that one. That was a great one. That was amazing. I love it. You have to understand it is very easy to slip back in. So it is a constant work. It is constant effort. It is a constant conscious choice to not do the same thing, to not fall back. And then understanding like this is a constant work. This doesn't stop. It doesn't end. It doesn't ever end. Okay, that's step 2. I'm trying to like not spend as much time on all these as I did the first one. Okay, step 3. I want you to understand, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but I also want you to understand if you are a person that's over 200 plus pounds, you literally have a lot more freedom than what you think you do. And what I mean by that is you don't have to change as much as what you think you need to change to start getting some kind of stimulus or result. Okay. I often talk about my clients. I'm going to talk about my one client here who I've talked about. She's the one that won't eat a Rice Krispie treat, but she would eat Dunkin' Donuts. And we're just taking photos of her food. And she is dropping inches, dropping weight. And we are not track your calories, cut out all the protein. What are we doing? We are focusing on food relationship. We are focusing on water. And I think some walking right now. That's what we're fucking doing. That's it. Okay. She is getting results because she doesn't have to change a lot to get a lot of stimulus. She doesn't have to change and shift so many things at one time and make it so fucking extreme. Now, the less you have to lose, the more tight you have to be with it. You don't get to be so loose. If you only got 5 or 10 pounds, you have to be a lot more, quote unquote, strict on it, consistent. Instead of being like 60 to 70% on it, you got to be more like 90, 95% on it because it's harder. You have less to go. It makes sense. The less you have to lose, the more tight. I call it like tight. The more tight pulled in you have to be. The more you have to lose, if you're 200 plus pounds, pick fucking something. Just fucking change one motherfucking thing and just get really good at it. Just get really fucking good at it. Right? That's kind of step 4. Pick something. Pick one fucking thing. Somebody the other day, I said to pick the easiest low-hanging fruit. I said, pick the lowest hanging fruit. Oh, yeah, I remember. This is on my group coaching call. I said, pick the lowest hanging fruit. What is something that's easy? Then she's like, no, I really want a challenge. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. As she said that, because I'm like, just doing the easy thing is a challenge. That's why you're here. If doing the easy thing was fucking easy, you'd already be doing the easy shit. This is not easy for you. That's why you're here. So don't pick the hard thing, y'all. You're not going to make it. You're not going to make the hard thing. If you were going to make the hard thing, you'd already be doing the easy shit. If you can't fucking drink water and move your body for 5 minutes a day, you cannot do the hard things. I'm sorry, but that's just reality. Okay? So pick the low-hanging fruit. Pick what's the easiest thing to pick up off the tree. Everybody's going to look different. Now, when I did my journey, what started me really going, honestly, I was very consistent going to the gym. Now, I was not doing the right things at the gym. I want to be very clear that I spent 6 to 9 months fucking around and finding out that cardio is not the answer. It's not. 5-pound weights is not the answer. It's not. Neither of those things got me where I wanted to go, which was crazy because I would lift my toddler who was 2.5 years old and he weighed 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And I'm like, oh, here's my 5-pound weights, guys. Come on. Your fucking groceries weigh heavier than what you're lifting at the gym. A gallon of milk weighs more than that. But I can only lift 5 pounds. So you got to pick something simple. So for me, it was like, for some reason, I don't know why, going to the gym every day was easy for me. It was easy. It became routine. It was just like, boom, get to the gym, get to the gym, get to the gym, drop off the kids, get to the gym, drop off the kids, get to the gym. Like, that's what I did. I don't know why that was so easy, but it was. So we have to pick something that you can do. Pick something that's going to take what I call, it's going to cost you the least amount of fucking brain power, the least amount of fucking calories, energy, and you can just do it. I am a water person. Water. Water is easy. Water you can take anywhere. It's typically available anywhere. You can put it in your car. I feel like Cat in the Hat right now. Was that Dr. Seuss? Eat it over there. Drink it over here. You can drink it anywhere. Water is so simple to have with you on hand at all times. Why are we not drinking water? We are just walking around like a bunch of dehydrated bitches. That's what's happening. Stop being dehydrated. Dehydration causes a lot of other problems in the body. Causes cravings, causes lack of energy, mood swings, just in general, think of your body not being think of it like a shriveled raisin. We don't want to be raisins. We want to be grapes full of life. I don't know. Okay. Seriously though. So step 3 is you have a little bit more room to be a little bit loose. Step 4 is to pick something simple. Step 5 is to habit stack. Once you get one thing down, add in another. That's what I did. Okay, I started getting to the gym every day because that was what was easy for me. I was doing the wrong shit, but I was getting to the gym, right? Cool. Now I'm going to start learning about food. Now I'm going to start tracking my food. Was it perfect? No. Did I do a great job? No. Did I understand what the fuck I was doing? Not really, but I was doing it. I was trying. I was like, okay, what is this thing they call protein? Oh, meat? Meat is protein? Oh, okay. No fucking idea. I mean, I'm just going to say it like it is. That's how far back I can go to remember that. That is how far back I can go. So I don't even, I'm like, meat. Okay. That's a protein. All right. I'm not sure I knew that was the case. So understand that you can, once you get one thing down and it becomes kind of easy for you and it just becomes your norm, then you add in another habit. And then once that becomes your norm, and then again, we just start making this a part of who we are, not what we do. It becomes who we are, not what we do. It becomes who we are, not what we do. I'm not a person that just drinks water. I drink water. It's who I am. Okay. So number 5, habit stack. Number 6. This was one that I really struggled with. And I really feel like we still don't do enough. And this could be true to whether you have, 50 pounds to lose or 5 pounds to lose, whatever the case is. but very applicable to those that get caught up in the all or nothing. Typically that's women that have a lot of weight to lose. They get caught up in a very all or nothing mindset, very black and white. Step 6 is to give yourself permission to fuck up. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Give yourself permission to learn something that you don't fucking know. Give yourself permission to create a new skill set that you don't fucking have. Okay, here's a prime example. You want to know one thing I fucking cannot stand? Spreadsheets. Fucking can't stand spreadsheets. Cannot stand them. I know two women who are spreadsheet wizards. They're fucking wizards. And they have both made comments to me before. Yeah, like, I know spreadsheets like you do training. I know spreadsheets like you know food. I know spreadsheets like you. Yeah. You want to know what? Spreadsheets is a skill. They didn't just wake up. They had to learn, and maybe it came quite easy for them, and that's okay. But they still had to learn how to do the spreadsheet. That's fine. Now, looking back on it, if you were to see me now, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so easy for you. But if you were to see me 8 years ago, I mean, it would be the equivalent to like not knowing what a column is and a row is and all the things. I don't fucking know any of that shit. It is not my skill set. It's not where I'm strong. Now, thankfully, I don't have to know those things because I hired somebody to do that for me. But if I had to do it, I could get by. Like, let's be honest. It would be very bare bones minimal and probably very awful, but I could do it. Okay. But it also, if that skill set maybe was like do or die, or like there was nobody to hire, I would probably have to fucking figure it out. I would have to take time. I would have to go in and make a spreadsheet and fuck up and probably get the formula wrong and get all sorts of shit wrong and be like, ah. It is a skill set you have to learn. You have to allow yourself permission to learn. We don't get angry when our kids don't get 2 + 2 right away. We don't get angry when kids are learning to tie their shoes or learning their manners or riding a bike or learning how to hold a pencil or learning how to use a fork and a knife. But man, do we get on ourselves when we eat an Oreo when we just quote unquote shouldn't have done it. Hello. It's a skill set. You got to learn things. This is like definitely something I'm working through with my daughter and in the gym. And it's okay if something doesn't feel right. It's okay if something doesn't look right. It's okay if something, like, it's okay. It's learning. It's okay to look like a fucking idiot. It's okay. Every single person in here, that's what I remind her. Every single person in here, Jaden, started. One day they started. And they probably, majority of them, look like a fucking idiot too. I look like a fucking idiot too. It's okay. Give yourself permission to look like a fucking idiot and learn. To make mistakes. That's how you learn. Okay. And number 7 is to keep going. Please stop stopping. Please stop stopping. There's no reason to stop when we do make a mistake, when we do fuck up, when we are trying to learn something and we don't get it right. Like, oh, damn. Shit, I didn't realize it had that many calories in it. Instead of being mad about it at yourself, just be like, oh, now I know for next time, either skip this or change it, swap it out, or eat less of it. Like, oh, okay, I learned something. Instead of being like, oh my God, I can't believe you went over your calories by 300. Do you even know what that's going to do tomorrow on a scale? The answer is nothing. It doesn't even fucking matter. 300 calories is like nothing. I went over my calories yesterday, 300. Whatever. I can be mad about it, or I can say, hey, Sarah, get back on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Like, that's the reality. And I do know. I know exactly what I'm doing. For me, it isn't something I need to learn, but it also doesn't mean I'm not going to fuck up. It also doesn't mean that I'm not going to have a moment where I'm like, yep, I want that. So I'm going to eat it. And that's going to be that. And be okay with it. Right? Like, stop stopping though. Stop stopping when you make mistakes. Nobody would be out here. Nobody would be driving. Nobody would be riding bikes. Nobody would be walking. We'd all be little fucking nobody would be peeing and pooping on a toilet if we all just quit when we made a mistake. Nobody, because everybody's fucked it up. Tell me one person hasn't went pee and poop in their pants when they were 3, trying to learn how to, or 2, or however old you were. Tell me one person that didn't have an accident. Tell me one person that at some point never wet the bed. Please, I'd love to hear who you are. I'd love to know who just like literally you came out the fucking chute and you're like pissing on a toilet at 9 months old. Please, who are you? I'd like to meet you. We would literally be whiny baby bitches crawling around on the floor, probably not even crawling, because that is a skill set that once you don't learn, apparently we quit. Right? We need to start having the mentality we had when we were 4, 5, 6, 2. Where it's like, oh, that didn't work. Maybe I should try it differently. That didn't work. Maybe I should just not do that thing, but let's try this thing. Like, getting on a bike and riding it again. It's like, okay, where did I go wrong? We get curious. Where did I go wrong? Okay, I can't do this thing again. I'm going to try this instead. Oh, okay. But yeah, with our health, it's just like, oh, I ate an Oreo. Oh my God, the scale went up. Oh my God, here he is another weekend and I fucking binge ate again. Got to start back on Monday. Got to start after vacation. Got to start after school starts. Got to start when school gets out. All these excuses, we just push it off. I'm going to add a step 8 because this one, I think it needs to be said. While this process is simple, it's not easy. While this process is simple, it's not easy. There's way too much nuance, even though it's simple. Everybody talk calories in versus calories out. That is true. Yeah, for sure. It's not a lie. That is how you lose weight. But your journey to get there is going to look a lot different than everybody else's journey. Nobody's journey looks the same. And we got to stop making assumptions and assuming that it should be just so simple for me. Why isn't it so easy? Why can't it be so easy? Because it isn't. Because you're a human being that has emotions and feelings and experiences that have allowed for this not to be fucking easy. And maybe that's something that we can go back to number 1 and accept. Accept that it's okay to be a human and that this is not easy. So, I'm curious, thoughts, feelings, did this hit a person that has 200 plus pounds to lose? I'm wondering, where are you at? How are you feeling? What are you thinking? I would love to know. All righty, you guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of the week. I will catch you on the next episode and have a great hump day because every day is a great day for a hump.